Welcome to the first episode of Sips with the Surreal.
Hi, I'm Jenna.
I'm Danielle.
And I'm Dina.
Welcome, everybody.
We are a book club podcast where we're just like three friends who want to talk about the books that we love, right? Basically.
Yeah, we're pretty obsessed with each other and
And
we
the books
like
we read.
reading and talking about our books.
Yeah, that sums it up. So we were like, hey, why not put this on a podcast platform and deep dive into fan theories that we're always sending each other reels about anyway and constantly messaging each other.
Yeah.
When
See
we're
if you
supposed to
guys
be
have-
working.
Definitely.
Yes, definitely.
This is our alternative work that makes us actually happy.
This is way more fun.
Yes. Oh, for sure.
Dina.
Okay, so today, where are we going to go into how
we became friends. Okay. So Jenna and Danielle, we are sisters, so we became friends at my birth. But Dina was not blessed with being born near us. We met her later in life. Actually, we've only met her in person 2 times, believe it or not. But we fell in love with her via podcast world when we started our Did Not Need to Know podcast. And her husband is in a podcast called Formidable Opponents. Dina does the artwork for that.
Creative Little Pill. Go follow her.
Yes, she's awesome. And she does our podcast art. So the worlds aligned, Texas and Pennsylvania. And even though I vowed never to go to Texas, I will go there again for Dina.
Yay!
Just kidding.
And I'll go to Pennsylvania.
And now we're obsessed and we're friends through long distance, and that's fine.
I was describing Dina the other day to mom, and I was like, she's just like one of those like unicorn people that you're just like, how is someone this nice? And mom was like, well, when you find someone like that, you have to hold on to them and you have to know they're your friend.
Oh, sweet.
There you go.
She is. She's like, I don't think you ever talk shit about people. You're like super nice.
Oh, you'll have to get to know me then a little bit more.
Only people that deserve it.
No, I do talk shit. Yeah,
yes,
I do.
I've heard it.
There's
and
been
it's
a couple times.
definitely people who deserve it only.
Good job.
Fine.
Yeah.
Okay. Dina, do you want to tell everybody what we're discussing today?
Sure. So today we're discussing A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. Moss?
Mass or Moss? Yeah,
Oh,
I don't know.
that's a great question.
I've heard people say Moss. I've heard people say Mass. It's a double
I say Mass.
Also, I've heard people say Akatar and Akotar. So
I don't know why a Kotar makes me have like a visceral reaction. I don't like it.
I'd say, oh no, I don't even know.
I say
Akatar. Yeah.
I say Akatar because you say it all the time. So I just started saying it because I'm your little sister.
I mean, I could see why it's the other way too. Whatever.
Anyway. A court.
Yeah.
I don't know. Whatever.
Pecan.
Pecan. You know what? When we came home, I started asking people, is it pecan or pecan? It's definitely a Northeast thing.
I was thinking about that the other day when I was in line at Starbucks, and my new favorite drink is the Pecan Crunch. I say pecan. And I was listening to a guy behind me order it, and he also said pecan. So I do think it's a North thing. Yeah.
I was going to say Southern, Northern. Got it.
Well, I mean, it just makes sense. C-A-N, can. I don't know. It's an accent. It's probably just your accent, like how you say Whataburger. What did she say?
Whataburger.
It sounds like
it's
water.
Whataburger.
It's definitely the word what. It's Whataburger.
Not in Texas.
What? It's like what a burger.
Well, when you guys first said it, and I was like, Waterburger, what a weird name, water. And then I went to Texas and I saw the sign. I was like, it's Whataburger. Oh, you guys are weird.
Yeah.
But we love you.
So
I love you all.
In addition to us talking about our favorite books and it being a book club podcast, we're also honoring the surreal. So, in honor of the surreal, what are we sipping today? Me and Danielle are sipping Spring Court Spritz, which is basically an Aperol Spritz. And Dina, what are you sipping?
So it would be technically Amren's blood, but not her blood, just the blood that she drinks.
Yes, for blood wine.
I wanted to clarify that.
That is that's
blood
a clarification.
That's very good.
Oh.
But in reality, it's red wine.
It's Cabernet. Yeah.
Love a Cabernet.
Love a good cab.
Love a good Cabernet.
Yeah.
All righty. So let's
dive in here.
All right, go, baby.
All right, so we're going to just start with the summary. For anybody who is interested in reading this, we will talk about the whole book. So spoiler, but here is the summary. So says Goodreads, right?
This is from Goodreads.
Quoting Goodreads.
Straight off of Goodreads, babe.
All right. When 19-year-old huntress Feyre kills a wolf in the woods, terrifying creature arrives to demand retribution. Dragged to a treacherous magical land she knows about only from legends, Feyre discovers that her captor is not truly a beast, but one of the lethal immortal fairies who once ruled her world. At least he's not a beast all the time. As she adapts to her new home, her feelings for the Fae male Tamlin transform from icy hostility into a fiery passion that burns through every lie she's been told about the beautiful, dangerous world of Fae. But something is not right in the fairylands. An ancient wicked shadow is growing, and Feyre must find a way to stop it or doom Tamlin and his world forever.
Forever.
That was all right?
No, that was great.
Oh,
you did a great job. It just made me think of Sandlot. Whenever I hear the word forever.
Forever. What did he end up doing? Anything?
Squints?
Yes.
In real life?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. But in the movie, he married the hottie Peppercorn. What's
Wendy Peppercorn?
Wendy Peppercorn.
Was it really Peppercorn?
Yeah.
What a dumb name.
Oh, really? I think it's iconic.
Peppercorn?
It goes with the movie.
I understand. It's just like not a hot girl name. Like Wendy. I think of Wendy from.
Well, we got to think of it's like supposed to be the 50s or something, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, 50s or 60s.
Wendy's
probably a hot girl name, but Peppercorn.
Yeah.
I mean, they could be spicy.
I think it was supposed to be like silly because she was very pretty. But
all right.
All right. Anyway.
Okay.
All right.
So we're going to go into the highlights here because we're assuming everybody who's out there listening has read this book. I mean, it's taken over the world.
It's very viral. I mean, that's why we're picking it.
It's taken over the world.
When I first heard about it, one of my girlfriends told me about it. Shout out Rachel. And then I told Jenna about it, and I was like, I got to read this series. And we had another friend, Megan, who was all about Fae fantasy books, and Jenna and I were never into this kind of reading this, but now
I was such a hater on fantasy books, and now look at me.
And my one girlfriend talks about how it's just right. She is our cult leader because Jenna took off. She just booked it and read all the books without us, and then
it took me like a whirlwind or hurricane or whatever you want to call it, a tsunami. It just swept me. She was like. Our friend was trying to get me to read this one first. And I was like, this fucking sounds like Beauty and the Beast. I'm not reading this shit. And then I read Fourth Wing and I was like, well, that was amazing. Let me try. And then you know what it was? Audible had it free to listen to that month.
They did.
It was a
then
promotion.
I listened to it too for free.
It was a promotion. And I got all of the Audible book, the graphic audio books, which really did it for free. And I was like, oh no. I love this. And then it's been all over ever since. Now I'm so into Fae, and
I will say it did make the graphic audio made the first book more enjoyable because as we'll say later, it's very slow to start.
It is slow, yes.
In comparison to other books.
And I am one of those toxic Audible listeners.
She is so
Well, what are you going to say?
Like you're just like a Audible junkie.
Oh, well, I'm a total junkie. But what I was going to say is I listen to it at like, if they're talking too slow, like I don't need the dramatic pauses. I'm listening to that at like 1.2.
So I did that. 1.5. And you were like, why is it so fast? And now all of a sudden you like 1.2?
Because you were.
Don't be shaming my 1.2.
Over the best parts of Rysand.
Absolutely not. Never. Ever.
I think she did.
No.
No.
False.
At 1.2 though?
I listened to
I don't feel like that's that fast.
Thank you.
It
probably is as fast as Dina reads. Dina is like the fastest reader. She's like a 1.7 reader.
She's a 2.0.
Oh, thanks. She's a 10. But
1.2 is my preferred speed. You were listening to it at 1.5.
And never 1.5. Never.
Oh, wow. That's
speaking too quickly.
She is saying nothing but lies. But anyway, this book is more than just fairy porn. It is the gateway into a wonderful land.
It is
Mhm.
literally,
Well said.
literally. Let's cross over that like it's not like a real wall. It's like a force field, right?
Yeah,
The wall
Really?
that
Is that what
separates.
you?
So I think
I thought it was a wall, a real
I
wall.
thought it was a literal wall.
Literally.
I was reading something in this and doing research for this episode. I was reading that the wall between the human world and Prithian, um, because you can't see it. The humans at least can't see it. Remember, they have to just like keep like putting their
Oh,
hand
yeah.
That's
to
true.
find all the
But the Fae
imaginary
can see
hole.
it.
The Fae can see
Yeah.
it.
So it is a
So
wall first.
I think it's like, and the reason why like everybody felt it is because like the vibrations of the force
Mhm.
field, you
Yeah.
know.
So it's an actual wall that the fairies put up, but the humans
a
aren't
force
able
field.
to see it because
Yeah.
they're humans. They're ordinary.
Yes, that's
Which
right.
is how they, because they were looking for holes, right? But they
Yeah.
had to, yeah. Oh, that makes more sense.
And the Fae can see the
So it's
holes.
half and half.
That's how they go in. The bad Fae go in and like hunt humans or whatever the fuck that they do. Okay. So let's just like start
to the
at like
beginning.
hot topics to talk about here. We
Yeah.
got
What
Papa.
do we
Papa
think of the
Archeron.
Archeron family?
Yeah. Papa Archeron. Oh, I would have crippled because he was like made bad investments. He's basically useless.
Did he even like his wife? Like they talk about Mama Faye and Mama Feyre and Mama Archeron, whatever, and it's just like nothing ever is happy about her.
Okay, but I wanted to talk about this. They don't have
Okay.
names. Why did she not? Why did they don't have names?
They don't have a name.
Mama and Papa
It's
don't
a
have
little
names.
bit annoying.
Father.
And like I was
Who is
looking through
father?
comments. I was looking through comments and somebody made a good point. Like, would you be interested in a backstory or like a prequel that involved Mama and Papa Archeron?
I would. I would do.
I wouldn't.
I would only because of some of the theories that are out there,
Oh,
which I think we're going to talk about later.
yes. Yes. If they dive into who
The Nesta stuff.
Mama is.
Mhm.
Yeah. And so I like wrote about this a little bit, and I know it's like one of our like deep dives, but like the birth order and how Faraday Mass made the character. So like it's Nessa's the oldest, then Elaine is the middle child,
Mhm.
and
Feyre's
I
the
always
youngest.
thought Elaine was the youngest because she's so coddled
Same.
and babied
She
by
acts
the
like
two other
that. But
sisters.
in the beginning, Feyre talks about how she's the youngest all the time and she's the one who has to go out and hunt. She's the youngest. Why is she the one who has to do all this stuff? No one's helping her
doesn't
learn how to
really-
read.
Feyre doesn't really complain. It's
We
just
talked
like
about it.
she does it. But like I just feel like is Sarah J. Maas an only sibling and she doesn't understand like birth order
The birth order.
psychology? Because like
Maybe.
Nesta doesn't follow in the typical like psychology of birth order. None of them do really.
You don't
Mm-mm.
think? Okay.
Nesta, listen, other than Nesta being a bitch,
Yeah, she's the
oldest child.
okay, but yeah,
Hey.
she's not a overprotective big sister.
Oldest old child.
Right.
You know?
Right. So she's not an overprotective
Dina
big
doesn't
sister, mama bear.
Okay.
Sister.
Right.
Yeah. So the oldest child usually is like the overachiever, the leader, the maternal one of the
Yeah,
the-
she
of
has
the
no maternal.
siblings.
But is that because of, and that's where I would like to find out about
Her
Mama Archeron.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like
Mhm.
what, I'm not that I like Nesta at all.
Mm-mm.
Spoiler for later books. Well, this book too, you see that she's a
No, she
bitch.
sucks.
She sucks in this book a lot too.
And I have a different opinion, but okay.
But actually, this
Can't
book
believe-
shows less of her bitchy side because
Yeah.
do we have to, can I jump or
Yeah,
that's too much jumping?
Jumping, baby.
So yeah, we're all over the place already. Like when she goes back after she's left Tamlin and then she tells Nesta about everything. Nesta and her kind of bond a little bit.
They do. And that's where I felt like, okay, maybe like I know that Jenna at this point was already like, no, Nesta's a total bitch, but I was like, I like her.
Jenna doesn't
And
go back.
She actually
doesn't go back to love anyone.
once you're on my
She
ship,
actually
that's
went-
pretty much it.
But she actually went to go look for Farah. Like she went to
That
the
was-
She
wall.
did, you're right.
And that was the
Which was
part where
surprising.
I was like, oh, maybe I like this character. Like, and why didn't the glamour work on Nesta?
Exactly.
When
Exactly.
when she kills the wolf, Feyre kills the wolf, and Tamlin comes in his beast form and says, makes up that lie that says like,
About
oh,
the
there's
dad.
rules that say that
treaty.
the treaty says I either have to kill you, you come live with me forever. Like very, And he glamored the family to think that Feyre's with a sick aunt taking care of him. The glamour didn't work on Nesta.
She
Mhm.
never believed the
Why?
story that father's ships returned and that all that stuff.
Mhm.
She was like, no,
Mhm.
he's still an asshole who
Yeah.
let us sleep in one giant disgusting bed together.
Yes. So we'll get
Which
into
also
those theories a
is
little.
another thing.
We'll get
We
into that
have
theory a
lots to talk about.
so
This
much.
book does have a lot.
All right.
Not even
So
the spiciest of books.
do we talk about
Mhm.
Calumet at all? Do we talk about the first appearance of the most beautiful male that Feyre's ever laid eyes on?
Of course.
Okay.
Why wouldn't
I
we?
think Calumet sounds gross.
Oh, definitely.
Who came up with this? That basically the high lords of the land go into some sort of feral manic state where they need to basically have sex with somebody,
Like right there.
any
And
maiden, to restore magic to the land.
Right.
Spring will happen.
Sounds
it sounds
like
like a
bullshit to
male.
me. Yes.
Sounds like a male's rule.
What the hell kind I love you, Sarah J. Maas. That is the craziest shit I've ever heard in my life.
Her brain is like so crazy, but so good that she can make up all this intricate stuff in these
Yeah.
worlds. Like just the
Yeah.
maps alone. I'm just
Oh, yeah. Detailed. Uh-huh.
mhm.
But I love how Lucian's like, maybe stay away from Tamlin.
He's not himself tonight.
He may have sex with you and he
Won't
won't be, he won't
remember.
It
remember
won't
and
be him. Yeah.
be beastly. And like, you're like, what?
Which, yeah.
And
Okay, so I mean, I don't feel like did she really ever go back to that? Like all the High Lords are supposed to
Mm.
participate, but do they all do like Tamlin's part?
In
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
No, but we shouldn't talk about that. It's a different book.
We can touch real quick, basically saying how Tamlin's a little old school and he's like the only one that still participates
Oh,
in it.
that's true. Okay, okay,
We
okay.
won't
Right. Just
say
kind of like
who
some of the
said
other things
that.
that he does. Yes, yes, yes.
Hmm
Got
hmm
it.
But
Remember now.
when Feyre sneaks out, to go to Calumet, which looks, I mean, the fires and the fire pits and the flowers,
Mhm.
Right. The sound of it is very
beautiful.
nice.
Looks
Yeah.
lovely.
Except the ritual.
What a lovely place to have group sex with a bunch of random strangers.
Beautiful.
Fairy
And,
wine.
all that stuff sounds so nice until you meet people and you're like, "Ugh, no.
Yeah, Feyre stumbles across like three like
Rapists.
rapist fairies, and then in comes the most beautiful male that she's ever seen. And
Who delivers the best line of the book?
But also, spoiler, if you haven't read other books in the series, you don't know why that's the best line.
he
I
says,
know. I know.
there you are. I've been looking for you. And at this time in book one, we're saying, like, oh, he's just
Just
like
helping
acting
her
like
out.
he
Looking for her.
knows her to get her away from these three very terrible people who have bad intentions for her. And then that's basically the end of Calumet for her. She goes back to the manor after that, has a little run in with Tam Tam. He bites her on the he bites her on the neck.
Yeah, it does.
He seems to rein in, and after that, I guess maybe he had sex with somebody else and like
Didn't he?
did we
He said, because
say?
he said, I was
He
looking
did
for you all
complete it.
night. You hid from me on purpose. He was like flipping out at her.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Whatever this magic of Calumet is, it makes them into like maniac feral creatures that aren't normally like
See,
like that.
Understand like why she was attracted.
Gross.
Like, why did I think he was a good mate for her in the beginning?
Oh, okay. Yeah, let's talk about that.
Can we go into that?
Let's talk about
Yeah.
that.
Because
Okay.
we, for a while,
You thought he was.
I'm
Dina?
like, I like Tamlin.
I never
So-
really I was like, huh, don't like this main guy really that much. I don't feel the chemistry.
I don't know if I was already like spoiled or like it was spoiled for me because I knew that people out there had read it and didn't like Tamlin. I didn't know why. Like I didn't have all the details or anything. So I don't know if it was already kind of ruined because of that, but I did not like their chemistry at all.
I
I
thought
felt like it was very red flags all
I
over
thought
the
she was like kind of forcing it a little, like, all right, I'm
Mhm.
here.
Mhm.
He's my captor, but he's not so bad. And then she was like, all right, might
Mhm.
as well make the best of it. And I do kind of like him. He's hot, blah, blah. Maybe I could help him.
So
Right. And given her background too.
Mhm.
yeah. So I read this before I realized that there was fan art and a whole book talk or bookstagram world. So I didn't have any spoilers about this series. So I was just like, well, he seems kind of lame and I don't really see the appeal.
What are some of the nicknames from Tampon?
Oh God, that's the best one.
Tam.
Tam.
What was the other one?
I don't know.
Oh, there was
he really does suck.
He does.
All right. So moving on from Calumet, right? They're like having feelings for each other, whatever. They make out in like what that starlight pool, right? Don't they make out in a pool?
Yes.
Like not a real pool.
Yeah. That's where she like starts falling for him or whatever.
Mhm.
Yeah.
She wants he kisses her too to see and like I don't know, doesn't remove the glamour, but he like puts on this glamour or something like that where she
really
can see
let
better.
his power shine through.
Yes.
Did we mention anything about the masks and
No.
Lucian? We didn't say anything
So
yet.
yeah, at this time in Prithian, everybody's cursed with these masks they can't take off. Tamlin's is what is it, a lion?
Yeah.
Is it a
Right?
lion?
That's a good question.
I know Lucian is a fox.
Yeah.
He's our
Now, when you
to be in
guys
honor of
envision these,
Tamlin.
did you envision like how did you envision it over their face? Like, because it's like adheres to
like their
Yeah.
like nose,
like a masquerade.
no, yeah, like that,
Yeah.
right? Nothing
That way they could eat.
all over their cheeks
Yeah.
or anything,
Yeah.
right? Because like you could,
No.
because she said she could still pretty
Make
much
out
see
his
what he
face.
kind of looked like, and he was handsome.
Right.
He was lovely.
I mean,
Just
Fae
not
are
our kind of
beautiful
lovely.
in general, right? Aren't
Yeah.
they supposed to be beautiful?
Yeah.
What did we think of when we learn of the most beautiful male's name, Rysand, when he comes into Tamlin's mansion and they're all like terrified and they hide her in like this invisible shield? What were your first thoughts on Rysand? Because he's like, they're looking at him as the enemy coming in who's, canoodling with this evil creature woman, Amarantha. So he's perceived at this point as being bad.
You're right. He was
They're
a bad
hiding
guy.
her. What were your initial thoughts of him here, Dina?
I, at that point, was trying to remember because now that I know so much about him, it's hard to kind of think back.
Yeah, I know.
To when I
separate
I
it.
wasn't I didn't feel like I did about Tamlin. Like I was intrigued, I guess. That was it. Like, who is this guy? Who is this character? I think there's more to him. I don't know what it is, and I kind of hope that I like it.
Yeah,
you know?
Right. Like I originally was like, oh, he's kind of like a dick bully kind of
Yeah.
guy. And then I remember texting Jen and I was like, wait a second. Rhysand's not that bad, right? He's not a bad guy. And Jen was like, keep reading.
Yeah, that's all I'll ever say.
That's all she'll say.
I remember thinking to myself, I wonder if I have a problem because why do I like Rysand? I was like, what does this say about me? I was like, maybe Sarah is gonna. My friend Steph calls her Sarah Janet when we're mad at her. Like, Sarah Janet, because what does the J stand for?
Oh.
So she's just like, Sarah Janet, what are you doing to us? Like, Sarah Janet, maybe she has like, bigger things planned for Rysand. And yeah, obviously she did.
Obviously, he was like the center of her whole thought process.
Spoiler, did you guys know that she modeled Rysand after her husband that she has a very loving marriage with?
I think I did.
Excuse me?
I don't know. Have you seen a picture of her Rysand?
No, I have not. Is he good looking?
He's
So
a cutie.
modeled after him in the sense of looks or personality or both.
Maybe you know what? He is a very dark-haired man.
Oh.
But I believe
Interesting.
personality and like their love relationship.
Oh,
I know.
that's so sweet.
So sweet, but also
But she's also supposed to be like Nesta.
Yeah.
So she's Nesta and he's Rysand. Interesting.
Huh.
How does that work?
Well, I think she was Nesta in Silver Flames. She put a lot of herself
Right.
as Silver Flames
Mhm.
Nesta, not necessarily this Nesta.
No, but I mean, they're all one and the same. But I mean, Nesta
sure the
Silver
author
Flames
has
is angrier, spoiler, for many other reasons that she should be angry for. But
not that angry. Get over it, bitch.
I mean, spoiler, big spoiler. If I was turned into a Fae without my consent,
that's fine.
I'd be really pissed.
No, that's fine. You still don't. We're getting really off. You still don't have the right to treat people that way.
No, I mean,
Anyway.
she's a bitch. We get it. She's a real big bitch.
anyway.
Amarantha.
I feel like this will be a poll for later.
This is
Yeah.
definitely a poll.
We haven't
for
really
later.
talked about Amarantha. She's like the
Okay.
center bad guy.
Oh
Okay.
yeah, she's the
Here
problem.
we go. So like there's a blight.
Blight?
Blight. There's a curse on Prithian. There's something bad happening, right? As Danielle said from the Goodreads thing, there's like a dark shadow. And we learned that it's Amarantha, this evil queen. This evil fae who basically made herself High Fae, High Fae queen of all of Prithian instead of the 7 courts, right? There's 7. There's spring, autumn,
winter,
night,
day,
summer,
dawn.
dawn. Yes. So there's 7 high lords.
And 7's a magical number. That makes sense.
Her and the king of Highburn, who wants to kill all of the humans, were like, let's take over. These high lords don't want to be mean to the humans. We're going to take over. She puts a curse on all of the high lords, takes their magic. He gets mad at Tam Tam because Tam Tam won't marry her or even have sex with her.
Be with her.
Yeah. Anyway.
She's bitter, scorned.
And he goes, I won't even, I'd rather be with a human than you. She's like, oh yeah? Well, then everybody has a mask on their face until you get a human to fall in love with you. And so that's basically the curse. What's the 7 times 7 years? So he has 7 times 7 years to get a human to fall in love with him, a human that hates Faye to fall in love with him. 7 times 7. What's that about?
Isn't that the 49 years?
I know it's
40. Yeah, but why did she say it like that? Why didn't she just
Because
say
that's like what old timey people say. It's like,
it makes it scarier.
Used to say like, what they used to say, 6 and 10 years for when
it was like, the wording of the numbers were always like,
I guess. I think she wanted to highlight that magical number 7.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see
like,
that.
Can't you? I mean, not that I want.
It's not as cool to say.
Or do 70
years. Why 49?
Yeah,
not 50.
Not that we want to be cursed for an extra year, but like,
no, it's dumb to say 49 years.
So basically, Feyre comes into the scene when it's the magical 49 year.
Now, do you think Amaranth is beautiful? Even though she's so
I always pictured her as
like an evil queen.
The girl from who in Game of Thrones, the redheaded, what the hell is her name?
Oh, the Red Witch.
Oh,
what? Who?
Talking about the Red Witch?
Sansa Stark from
Sansa.
Game of Thrones. So I always pictured Amarantha as that.
Oh, like
I
her,
can
really?
see that.
Yeah. What did you picture her as? I'm gonna get a.
Isn't she not married to Joe Jonas anymore?
No, they are not. What's her real name?
Sophie
Turner. Yes. That's what
It's the red hair, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
And she's kind of got like evilish look in her eyes sometimes.
No. I could totally, there we go.
There we go.
I could totally see her as a little like evil-y.
They make that picture too. Movie.
Yeah. She's my fan cast for Amarantha. So.
Or Isla Fisher.
She's too sweet of a face.
She could play.
Isn't it Isla Fisher?
Is it Isla?
Oh gosh. Pecan.
Whatever. Borat's wife.
Borat's wife. I think they're divorced now too.
No.
Yes, they are.
Hey, everybody's breaking up, baby. Okay. So
anyway,
Feyre just learns from her like maid, Alice.
Alice.
Nonsense.
Alice.
Like,
and Alice's twin nephews, twin sons.
Take it easy about that. So she goes to Under the Mountain, which we couldn't come up with a better name. Like this secret mountain, she like made Rasanne's night court into this evil place under the mountain. But that's all anyone.
I know it's kind of annoying to keep saying under the mountain, under the mountain. You're like under the mountain, under the mountain.
Remember when we were under the mountain? Remember
UTM
time during Under the Mountain. Very dramatic. So she goes there, she fights, she's like, oh, my Tam Tam, let him be, break the curse.
Can you imagine knowing someone for not that long and then literally fighting to the death
for
to
them?
Save him and people when you were grown up to like hate Faye? And now all of
Right.
a sudden you just love him so much. You're abandoning all human.
And his first compliment to you is, "I like your hair," or "Your hair looks
You don't
nice."
look that bad, right?
Yes, didn't he say that? He was like, "You don't look that bad for a human." Like,
Didn't
Right.
he
Like,
say
oh,
something
thanks.
about the way she smelled too? Like, you smell okay. Like, it's something
like,
stupid.
geez, girl, like, have your standards a little bit higher.
Oh,
Okay,
Maybe she was just really starved for attention. She had a really shit home life.
we
Yes,
have a
yes.
bullet point to go over a little
Okay.
bit later. Okay, so Amarantha gives her this curse, this riddle, and that'll solve the curse, break the curse. And that riddle is, which I feel so stupid. I did not know it. I did not realize it.
I guessed it right away. Oh my God.
That's because Dina's smarter than us.
No, no, no.
For real, you are.
I was like, what the fuck is
Where's the
that?
riddle? You have it
It's
right here?
right there.
Oh, okay.
There are those who seek me a lifetime, but never we meet, and those I kiss, but who trample me beneath ungrateful feet. At time I seem to favor the clever and the fair, but I bless all those who are brave enough to dare. By large, my ministrations are soft-handed and sweet, but scorned I become a difficult beast to defeat. For though each of my strikes lands a powerful blow, when I kill, I do it slow.
See, the last part didn't scream love.
Maybe
to
that's
me.
what it was. That like
For me, it was the first line. I was like, "Oh, it's love. It's love. It's love."
I must have been overthinking. You're.
I was overthinking.
I think
it
I was
too,
way
probably.
overthinking it. So Feyre can't read, so she's definitely not going to get this riddle.
Oh,
She's not
no.
book smart.
Poor Feyre. She's not book smart. Literally.
Literally.
Literary.
It ain't there for her. So because she can't solve it, Amarantha's like, you bitch, you're gonna go through these 3 trials and they're gonna be awful.
Do you think, honestly, if she had guessed it right away, she wouldn't have gone through the trials?
No. And
No.
because like spoiler, what happens like later? She
Yeah.
goes back on it.
Yeah.
Like,
She's
Yeah.
like, just kidding, gonna
I
kill
didn't say
you anyway."
when.
So the first trial is the Midgard guard worm, which I've seen fan art of it and it looks terrifying.
yeah, super scary.
It's like a giant
I would have stopped
earthworm.
right there. Tam, I'll see you on the other side of the wall.
See
For
ya.
real.
Sorry.
Good luck,
I'll
Tam Tam.
be back there.
Good luck. Yeah.
Good luck, Tam Tam. Catch
Like,
me when
what
this is all
made
over.
her think that I mean, good job for defeating it, but like, what made her think she
She's
could do
like,
that?
you know what? I'm a damn good archer. I got
I
this.
killed Tam's friend in the woods. Oh, we didn't even mention that in the very beginning. That's how this happened. But
Oh, the wolf. Yeah. No, I did say that. The wolf disguises the fae.
oh, you did say that.
I got it.
Yeah.
I got it. So yeah, the Midgard worm, she like has to do this like mazy thing and she's throwing bones at it and making a pit of like spiky bones and because it can't see, right? It can't see.
It can't see.
It
It
smell
just goes off
her.
of smell. Mhm.
So she like tricked it to like impale itself.
And all these fays, everything in this world has very high sense of smell. Like
Oh yeah.
the smell is so heightened.
Yeah. I'm like, oh God.
The scent of everything
Sorry.
is everywhere.
It brought me back to the book. This horrible book I was reading.
No comment.
I had a little trauma response to that.
Ruh-roh.
Good. Anyway, okay, so she defeats it, but she's like injured, right? So I feel like it's important that we talk about Rasan then, because if she didn't get healed,
Well-
Amarantha didn't give a shit. She had a fever. She would have
Yeah, but
died of
Lucian
infection.
healed her first.
But remember, she was like thinking, I'll hold out for Lucian, but Lucian never came. And Rasan
But
came.
Lucian was coming to see her before this trial.
He
Right.
healed her the first time,
First
like,
time.
before. But then after this, Rasan comes
Mhm.
and heals her arm. But he's like, listen, like
Let's do a deal here.
we're making
Makes
a
the bargain.
a
I don't
bond-
do anything for free.
we're doing a bonded bargain here, babe. And she gets like the swirly tattoo that if I was so bold, I would totally get that tattoo.
Oh, I know, right? I
Oh.
kind of wanted to draw it. I have like this
Can you
vision
draw
in my
it?
head.
Dina.
I want to. I should try, right? I
We should
try.
at least get it
I've
just
been really
now
into, like,
one
drawing-
time. The 3 of us should get it as
Oh, that would be
tattoo.
cool.
So dorky. I love it. I don't like the eyeball on the palm though. That creeps me
Oh, I
out.
think that's cool. The way
Well, she
I
likes
have it in my
scary
head looks cool.
Like looking at her.
I
Dina
do.
likes scary stuff, so
And It's your sand.
I know. Just like, don't look.
Like, what weird things
Please
do you
close your
do with that
palm when
hand
you're
throughout the
doing.
day?
What happens when you're like washing yourself? It's like
He's
his
okay with that.
eyeball. Like,
He's okay with that.
you're right. He's okay with that. Okay, so he heals her, but they like the deal is like she has to visit his court 1 week a month, which twist my arm, handsome guy. Sure.
Okay.
Sounds terrible.
Right?
Okay, so what's the next? The next trial is what? Oh, the second trial is the pit. The pit, Lucian's in a fence. There's like levers.
We haven't mentioned Lucian enough. I honestly, can I just say,
Yeah.
I really liked Lucian in the first book,
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
even though he was, and we didn't mention her, um, Lucian deceiving her in the woods, though. We didn't talk about
I
that.
was just gonna say, the whole like name of our podcast here, we completely skipped over.
We really did
right.
skip.
Well, someone told me I needed to shorten the summary, Danielle.
This is not the summary. What you had was not a summary. It was
a
Cliff
summary.
Notes, pretty much. Like, not you copied it from Cliff Notes, but I'm saying it was
Talk
a Cliff
about
Notes
our
version.
beloved cereal.
All right, go ahead, Dina.
Dina, explain who the cereal is, the name of our
Okay.
podcast.
So they tell her about these, different types of fays that are out there, or like fairy creatures or whatever.
Lesser
And this
fairies.
one is lesser fairies, right? And one of them is the Suriel, who, if you catch them, they'll tell you the truth or anything that you want to know, any answers to your questions. So apparently it's super hard to catch them. And so she goes, I think it was to Lucian, or was it Alice?
Yeah.
It was Lucian, right?
Mhm.
And she asks him how to catch it. And so he gives her like these instructions on how to do it. So she goes out there and
Well, she like give it a piece of
behold,
like fancy clothes or something.
and a
Did she bring, like, a cloak?
chicken.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's like a chicken, and yeah, there's a few things that
But
she
he,
wants to bring.
The
Toads
cereal's
thought
like,
she
"Oh,
was not going to make it.
like satin cloth, thank you."
Like I mean, he was joking, right? I mean, that wasn't,
He seemed like he was
she didn't
tricking
need that.
Oh.
Right?
100%
Which is
tricking
kind
her.
of, which is kind of,
Like,
I
the
don't know.
cereal was like, yeah, cool, thanks.
But I
I'll
think
take
the whole
it.
thing was
Sure.
like the cereals are hard to catch. I don't think he thought
She would ever
she
catch
would
it.
ever catch it.
No.
But
True.
maybe how he told her to catch it was accurate. He just didn't think she could do it.
Maybe.
So that alone told us right there that she was special if she had these like
she could
abilities
catch it.
to
Yeah.
But
survive in that world.
I did think Lucian had more of a personality than Tamlin. I was like, shit, can't she get with Lucian?
I know.
Because he was like, jokey and like had more of a personality, where Tamlin was just like this like stoic wet blanket, like
Yeah.
grumpy.
He was very bitter.
So grumpy.
But then you're like, is he bitter because of everything that's going on with Amarantha? I was kind of playing devil's advocate.
I guess.
I mean, if I had a mask on for
Maybe.
7 years, 7 times 7 years,
What happens when you have an itch?
7 times
I'm
7.
gonna say, imagine the chafing under the.
Ooh. It's like a cast. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ouch. No. Okay. So yes, there's the Suriel. There's lots of like mythical creatures. There's the bog, the naga, right?
Right.
The water wraith,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because there's also
The adder.
the adder that's the scariest one for me, besides the
The
mitten
adder.
worm.
Yeah.
thing.
Right.
Okay.
So here we
the
are,
second
Lucian
trial,
in the pit.
Amarantha tied up Lucian. Now, in order she has to solve or this riddle that's now on the wall with these fucking levers. And if she pulls the wrong lever, then Lucian gets spiked with like these wall spikes. And then they'll both die. So now it's just not like her life on the line, and it's Lucian's. So when she goes to like go pull the wrong lever, her like little like eyeball tattoo from Reese starts to tingling, and she's like, oh, he's helping me out here. So then she goes to another one, he's like, not tingle. So she's like, okay, great. And she pulls that and it's solved, whatever.
Which is funny because we go to learn that he doesn't care for the spring cord very much at all. So it was nice that he was like helping her, who was eventually helping Lucian in the spring cord. But
true.
See, he is the best person ever because despite his hatred for them, he still helped.
Yes.
He still helps. Yeah.
And we were talking about this a little bit, how like Tamlin, her like beloved, basically isn't speaking to her, isn't looking at her. He's
No.
sitting there like a little mute baby boy.
Little bitch
Mhm.
baby.
His bestie Lucian has been stepping up and doing things. Rasan's doing things. Why isn't he even speaking to her? He won't even look her in the eye.
Mhm.
Like,
He doesn't acknowledge her
No.
are
at
you
all.
that prideful that like this is happening and a woman has to save you?
That's why, well, not even that. I thought that at this point I'm thinking like, you're just with her to break this curse. So you don't
Yes,
care
yes.
to see her
Yeah.
and
Right.
comfort her during all this to heal her because you're just hoping this bitch better fucking break this curse.
But like even if like he like was like locked away and couldn't sneak away, like wouldn't you like when she's during these trials, like shout things to her, or, like to like encourage her, say something,
Make
and
eye
Mhm.
contact.
like try to
Yes,
speak
yes.
through your eyes if like she has a gag on you. I don't know if she's like magical gag on him or something that was never said, but like I just was like so disappointed in him. I was like, I don't understand why he's not saying or doing anything.
And
So
that's because he told her that he loved her right before he dropped her back off. Like
that felt
that's not real
manipulative.
love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it felt
Yeah.
manipulative. It felt
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, he was using
well,
her.
okay, go see your family real quick, but like, I love you. Just so you
Right.
know.
I come back.
And you,
Yeah,
and
right.
she doesn't say
Say.
thank you.
All right. So then we go to the third trial, which is the saddest one. She
Yeah.
has to kill three innocent fairies by stabbing them in the heart. She doesn't want to, obviously. But it's the only way to, she thinks, to free the people of Prithian. So like all the fairies have like hoods on, and they have to unhood themselves one by one, and she's forced to like stab them, and she's like sobbing. When she gets to the third one pulls his hood off, and it's Tamlin. So she's like, oh shit, she's panicking. Then she like thinks back to all these random conversations where people are like joking, oh, Tamlin, you know, if you didn't have a heart of stone, blah, 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 realizing that it's not just a figure of speech. And
Which, like, what a guess.
I know, like, you know, maybe his heart is stone. So boom, she
Maybe
just,
that's why he was not going to her. His heart was literally stone.
that's a
Like
good,
he literally can't love.
Yeah, you can't love.
maybe,
Mhm.
maybe. So yeah.
Which is another reason why Amarantha made that curse. Like, I mean, you would want to reciprocate, right? And then he
Mhm.
couldn't
Oh,
even
that's
do
a good
that.
point.
No,
How do you
okay.
find someone to fall in love with you?
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, if Tam Tam ever gets a redemption story, maybe his side would be like my emotions were stifled because she made my heart into stone.
Hmm.
Yeah.
He would give us a little
Maybe
bit more
not feel.
insight. Maybe he gives us
Right.
insight.
I mean, because spoiler, he was
Because
very, very sad later on.
and the curse is what gave him the heart of stone, right? Like he didn't have that before.
Correct.
Right. Okay.
When
Yeah.
she was like, she cursed all the High Lords first, and then she was like, hey, come to my party where I'm celebrating how I defeated you all. And she's like, hey, Tam, you want to marry me? And he's like, no, rather marry a human. She's like, math's
Fuck
for
you.
everyone, and you have a heart of stone now.
Hmm. Hmm.
Right.
So, okay, so she plunges the thing into Tamlin's chest. Um, basically like breaks, solves the last, trial, completes the last trial,
Mhm.
which should have been like everybody's like, okay, hey, she did it, like break the curse now.
Curse
Amarantha's
breaker.
like, yeah, curse breaker, woohoo. And Amarantha's like, just kidding, I'm going back on my word, and starts like breaking every one of Feyre's bones, which is horrible. And then as she's like dying, it's like describing her like guttural death rattle breathing. She says the riddle, she realizes the riddle thing is love. And so the curse is broken. She's pissed. She snaps Feyre's neck, which is terrible.
Right. Like, what did you think when she snapped her neck?
I was like, no, there's no way she could kill her. Like
You can't kill the
Sarah,
main
Sarah
character.
Janet, you better not kill
Sarah
the girl.
Sarah Janet, what were you
Right. Because
thinking?
you're just like, she's the main character. And then you're like, oh, wait, she's
Right.
talking.
Yeah.
What's happening?
Yeah. Yeah. I was
Yeah.
kind of like,
And
I had
she,
to read it a couple times.
Yeah.
yeah. Cause like she becomes this like sentient being where she's like looking down on her dead body, and Tamlin, who immediately stabs,
Finally.
does something and stabs
That was instant.
Amarantha.
He did do that pretty instantly. Like, That was pretty good.
But did he do it for her or did he do it for himself?
He was
Just
like, I
saying.
have my powers back. Woohoo. Stab
Yeah,
Amarantha in the
that's a
heart.
good point. Do you think he did it for Feyre or for him?
I don't know. I don't know. So yeah, he's cradling her. Feyre hears someone screaming her name. Hint, hint,
Mm,
that's not Tamlin. Devastated, blood-curdling
mm.
scream. Um, Tamlin's so upset, and then each of the seven High Lords, as thanks for Feyre for being the curse breaker, they give her like a little droplet of her power, which saves her life, but also makes her High Fae. So now she has
Yay.
come back High Fae. Like, what do they call her? Maid. She's now maid.
She's made.
Hmm.
Maid, which is such a weird thing to say.
Well, she was made
True.
by.
True, 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 true.
Capital M.
True, true, true. Okay, so all happiness, flowers, roses, butterflies. They go back to the Spring Court Manor. Feyre's happy. She's with Tamlin. The curse is broken, but she's like so depressed over killing these like fairies.
No, I mean I would be too.
No, I totally get it.
Mhm.
Then Rasan shows up and he's like, just kidding. Don't forget about like our
Here's our week.
bargain.
Yeah.
Like, I won't call it in right now, but like, see you soon. And he goes to do his like whirly, swirly, like black cloud magic. And he locks eyes with her and like he like has a shocked face and stumbles back. And she's like, what the fuck? And then he like quickly disappears. Like, I know I was like, what the hell did
Yeah.
he I was like, oh,
Yeah.
he got like a premonition of the future and saw like something crazy is going to happen. I didn't even go where it
Well, how
does
could we
go.
go? There was no inclination to that.
Yeah.
Maybe if I was more of a fantasy book expert
Right.
at that point, I was very much a fantasy book virgin. So I didn't know all of the tropes of
You
like,
think if you were to
yeah, because
read a
now when
bunch of fantasy
Mhm.
before,
Yeah, because
you would have
now
pinned
Yes.
it?
yeah,
Yes.
because now when I
Well,
read these books, I'm like, oh, fated mates. I'm like, fated mates, baby.
Really, Dina, though, you would have pegged Rhysand as
so I read Throne of like the whole Throne of Glass series. So I remember texting Jenna throughout, like, hey, is it the same in all the books here? Because I'm reading this and this is giving me these vibes. And she's like, I don't know, keep reading.
that's her line.
She's like, but like, who's her mate? Like, which one
But
is
like
gonna be
what
her mate?
this happens, like where are they?
She's like, I really liked. I remember you specifically saying, like, I really love this idea of mates, and I really want this to happen in this book. Like,
All right, don't
Yes.
tell me too much because
okay.
I'm like the last 50 pages of Throne of
I
Glass.
know. I saw when you were putting the kids to bed. I was like, oh, she's like almost at the end of Throne of Glass, and I peeked, and then
They're at the duel.
I read a couple of pages. Yeah, like she's about to like do her last fight, and Dorian's like so upset and reflecting on it.
Oh, yay.
Okay.
Wrong book for tonight.
Sorry.
Also Sarah J. Maas, though.
Yeah.
But out of
Great
all the
series.
Sarah J. Maas books, Throne of Glass will always be my
Oh,
OG.
yeah.
Anyway, I digress. So yeah.
Oh, and wait, we forgot the Rhysand shows up and she
I
thanks
just
it.
said
Oh,
that.
wait.
Well,
Did we finish this
girl thing.
part?
I did,
Oh,
baby.
okay.
I did.
All right. Yeah. Okay.
So let's deep dive into the things we didn't hit as we
Mhm.
tangent all over the place. I think I read too much into things and thought that Sarah J. Mass was giving us little like clues with the whole like he Rasan's constantly
Yeah,
picking
you
lint.
said that, and I don't know if I agree with this. Lint.
No, now that I've read all of the Mass first books, like all of her 16 books, she just really hates lint. All of her characters are constantly picking lint off of their clothes.
Well, they're also always wearing black. So, I mean, I get it.
Yeah.
Everybody.
There's always lint.
is
I
wearing
was
black.
like, oh my God, he's like forced to like be Amarantha's, and I hate this term, but they use it in the book.
I know.
Amarantha's whore is what
Yeah, he
Paul
does say that
Rand.
all the time. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he like feels unclean and he's picking lint off. I was like, poor Sand. But I think she just hates lint and everybody's just
If he was that
picking lint.
traumatized, he wouldn't be having like phenomenal sex later.
Good for him.
I know. He really overcame that
Broke it.
7 times 7 years of slave sex.
Was it really bad then?
You know, I was pleasuring Amarantha the other night.
Again.
Again.
An evil bitch. I don't know. Okay. So then I found, like Sarah J. Sarah Janet, she loves her like little hidden like biblical and mythological stuff. So I saw that the in Greek mythology, amarantha means the amaranthan flower, which is associated with death, immortality, and longevity. So she had that like obsession with being like that high queen, fae, and like
Yeah.
obviously evil and like killing
I
people.
love that. Like, I mean, I don't love that, but I love that there's like that hidden,
I do. Yes.
you know.
I'm one of those people that like is a geek for mythology. I think
Mhm.
it's so
No, I like
fun.
Greek mythology too.
But then I think Dina, you found something about Beauty and the Beast. Do you want to dive into that?
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, from the moment that I started reading it, it just completely like Beauty and the Beast vibes.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Totally.
she's lives in poverty in the small little village, and there's this curse and a beast and mask, and it just like kind of just gave that whole Disney. Well, I mean, I was a Disney girl growing up, so I'm like thinking Beauty and the Beast, Disney style, right? Um, so some of this like similarities are okay, there's also obviously the curse. And in order to break the curse, there has to be love, right? So she has to fall in love with him, and that breaks the curse between Tamlin and with the beast. Let's see what else.
Very
Tamlin is
similar
cursed
to
with a
the rose.
mask. Huh?
Very similar to the rose in Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So the mask that Tamlin wears makes it harder for him to be like them to fall in love with him, just like it is for the beast. Like it's hard to fall in love with the beast. So
Form,
there's
yeah.
that similarity.
Mm-hmm.
She also initially fears the beast. She fears Tamlin in the beginning. She hates him. He takes her back to his place, just like in Beauty and the Beast. And then there's this deal between them where she needs to spend her life with him. Um, at first it's kind of like, oh, am I a prisoner type of deal, and then she finds out that she's not really a prisoner, so she kind of starts exploring the castle, well, in Beauty and the Beast, right?
Right.
It's
And the
kind of
ground
like a castle.
Springport. Yeah. And Tamlin's
um
like legit in beast form when she meets him too.
Right, for
right,
real. Like
exactly,
literally.
yeah, she sees him as that. So then as time goes on, they both discover that they're not actually that, horrible person, although I can kind of differ with that with Tamlin. But they kind of like start to fall in love with them and see them for this other person. And then, oh, we didn't even discuss too, like, he wants to know what she likes to do, and it turns out she likes to paint. So he gives her like this room and allows her to paint. He buys her paints and lets her kind of just go crazy with that, just like the beast with reading the books. He shows her the library, and
Hmm.
there's
Yeah,
that
they
whole
both have like
part
an
of it.
artistic passion.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No.
Uh-huh,
Yeah.
exactly. And then one of the last things was the old woman helps both of them, right? So
Yeah.
this old woman comes, and Alice in Akatar takes her to or gives her like the background on what was going on, and takes her to where she should go for Under the Mountain, and that's kind of also part of what's it called? East of the Sun. And what is it? East of the
Oh,
Sun
gee.
and West of the Moon. Oh,
Our champagne just popped itself.
I'm like, this is not that kind of episode
Oh
here. It's
my
not scary.
God.
Oh my Lord.
That was terrifying.
The cork literally
Just popped
just
open.
Oh,
itself. Sorry about that.
so then it likes East of the Moon, or East of the Sun, West of the Moon
I
there.
guess it really does. I didn't know about this East of the
Yeah,
Sun,
me
West of
either.
the Moon. That was like the first time. And the character in it is named Tam Lin, comma, or not comma,
Comma
space,
space.
space, comma, space,
Tam Lin.
Tam
Uh-huh.
Lin,
Uh-huh.
which, yeah, she loves incorporating like old literature.
That's awesome though.
Right. I mean, I thought it was really cool, and I don't
Illusion.
know.
It's a literary term called illusion.
Oh, thank you for that.
You're welcome.
I
You know what we
also,
didn't
oh,
talk about
what?
in the first book, did they talk about when Suriel says stay with the High Lord? Or is that a
Yes.
second book?
Is
It
it the
is.
first?
It's in the first book.
Oh,
Yes.
So she is also then,
stay with the High Lord and you'll
so
be
she's like,
safe.
okay, yeah, so I am making the right decision. So she was all like kind of pushed
Hmm.
into loving Tamlin
Hmm.
from what
Yeah.
she thought was
Yeah, she was like,
actually
"Oh, stay with
a
the
good
High Lord." That
advice.
means like
And you'll be
I'm
saved. Yeah.
supposed to be with
Yeah.
Tamlin.
Right.
Like if
Like
this,
she held on to that.
yeah,
Yeah.
if this being, this surreal, like
Is
is
knows everything.
all knowing, it's telling me to stay with the High Lord. Meanwhile, there's like fucking seven
Other
High
book. Yeah,
Lords.
I feel like we talk about
No, no,
too
no.
much of the other books.
You're right. So what we
Hard.
also didn't mention is how when she first gets to the manor after he like takes her, He says to Feyre, Tamlin says to Feyre, didn't your mom ever tell you about us? Now, why like the mom? Like, and there are theories
Because
that like
mom's supposed to tell stories and
yes,
teach the kids, and the dads don't.
but there are theories that Feyre's mom has like witch blood or maybe like a drop of Fey blood, like a Fey descendant, like from long, long, long ago. There's like a lot of different theories about that.
It would make sense because why her? Why is she so powerful to catch a Suriel to defeat all these trials? You know, it would make sense that she would have some
and then
sort
she turns
of
high fae.
Yeah.
right. Yeah, all of a sudden, yeah.
Like why high fae? Like why not just regular
Yeah.
fae?
Right.
There's also a theory that Tamlin knew Feyre's mom previously.
Yeah, because he's hundreds of years old.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have you seen the theory that Tamlin got it on with Feyre's mom
No.
during
Didn't
what is
like
it?
produce any.
Calanmai? What is it called?
Callan May?
Yes.
Eek.
So what I read is that there's like a theory out there, and it said that they think that he's Elaine's father.
Ew.
Yeah.
He's so blah.
And
Which would
he-
explain
I guess he's
He's
pretty
blah.
blah.
Oh, it would explain
The-
why
She
Elaine
likes
loves
flowers.
the
gardening,
flowers.
and she
And
always
spring.
she feels peaceful in a garden.
Yes.
Oh, I kind of like that theory.
Right?
Do you think Papa Faye knew that though?
Maybe.
I mean, I guess how would he know? I don't know.
There is also a theory that Elaine will be the most powerful of them all.
I don't believe that.
No,
That's
I
getting
don't
ahead
like
of
that.
ourselves.
I don't like that.
I mean,
Um,
yeah, go ahead.
There's one more thing with
Yeah.
that. So if you'll remember the three fae that
Yeah.
she runs into at that night,
Oh, yeah,
they say
yeah.
it's been a long time since we saw a human woman.
Oh.
So they're saying maybe the last time they saw it was Feyre's mom.
You're right.
Interesting.
Right? I was like, oh, I kind of like this theory. Like I could be, but then it's kind of gross if that's true because then Feyre was wanting to get it on with her sister's father.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Her half sister.
I guess that's
Her
like
half-sister's
no real
father.
blood anything, but it's awkward.
Yeah,
It's
just
weird.
a little weird. But yeah, I thought that was interesting.
Do we think the Suriel is male or female?
Male.
I thought it was a girl because it liked to gossip and it was like obsessed with like the fancy cloak that Feyre brought.
I don't know. I mean, I guess we shouldn't gender
Bias.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We should not give a gender to the Suriel.
I mean, the cereal that's on our podcast is female. Just saying.
Yeah.
Yes, true.
Badass looking.
And there are theories about the Suriel, and those theories suggest
Oh, that's true.
that it is the Suriel was
female.
originally a woman. We can't say anything
Yeah.
because it's related to Throne of Glass.
Just to the whole series or the first book?
I don't know when this person
Well,
comes.
she shows up in
Not
a
the
few.
first book.
She shows up in a few books, but I don't remember which
Yeah,
Okay.
she probably showed up for you already.
Yeah.
So we're not saying anything, but there are theories that she becomes the Suriel, which I don't know how I feel about it, honestly. I'd rather think that the Suriel is just a Suriel.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
Suriel just likes the gossip,
Likes to drink the tea.
likes to
Drink the
Spill
tea,
the tea.
tell it how it is.
spill the tea,
Drinking and spilling.
having some chicken and a fancy cloak, you know.
And a fancy cloak. Yeah.
What do you think her house or his or her house looks like?
The Suriel's house?
Yeah,
I don't
like-
know, made of bones. I don't know.
Where you spend your time.
Oh, I wanted because I'm such a Rasan stan.
But this isn't a book about Rhysand, so you can't talk
But
about
he
this
does
stuff.
say this, and I think it's very important,
right.
and it brings the whole thing.
I'm just saying,
why-
you better not be spoiling this.
I'm not. This is literally.
What
from
if people
book-
just read
Listen,
ACOTAR,
listen,
the
whore.
first one?
Listen, this is from book one, and so it goes to how Tamlin did nothing and Rhysand did everything. So, Feyre's breaking down, right? I think it was during the Middengard worm, the very first trial. She's like defeated,
Yes.
she's broken, she's like giving up on herself, and Rhysand like mind speaks to her. And direct quote, Rhysand being the only thing keeping Feyre from coming apart in front of Amarantha, he says, "Do not let her see you cry. Put your hands on your sides and stand up. Stand, don't give her the satisfaction of seeing you break. Good, Rasan told me. No tears. Wait until you're back in your cell. Count to 10. Don't look at Tamlin. Just stare at her. Good girl. Walk away. Turn on your heel. Good. Like he like helped her.
He was very.
Even mind spoke to her, and I just love him so much.
Of course, we love him. He is the best. I would marry him in a second.
Book boyfriend for life, man, life. All right, what else do we have to talk about, my loves? Oh, goodness gracious, I'm all over the place. All right.
No, we already did that.
We did all that. Okay, so we did do a little polly poll. And last I looked, we were like, does Tamlin deserve?
It was like 70-some%.
It went down to 67% said yes,
Oh.
Tamlin does deserve a redemption arc. And listen, we're only in book 1, so maybe we're getting ahead of ourselves doing that. But most people who are listening to this have read all the books, or at least the first one. And so 67% said yes, he does deserve a redemption arc. So
whatever. If it gives us more books to read by her, I'm fine with that.
I mean, I would like to see his perspective and like what was going through his mind at certain parts, but yeah. I mean, I did answer yes to that question. So.
Okay. Would we like to say in like similar to a 5-star rating, because we're sips with a cereal, we're going to give it a goblet rating, goblet. So would you like to say what we gave this book?
We all gave it a 4, and I think we all agreed that most of the way through it was not a 4.
Yeah.
It was a 3. And it wasn't until probably the trials that we were just like, okay, shit's picking up. Now it's good.
Yeah.
And you'll read, if you haven't read all her books yet, that the last 100 pages of her books are always the most intense. That's where all the juice is. So when that hit, then it was
it's
a page turner.
You can't stop.
It's emotional turmoil the last 100
It is.
pages.
Every feeling you could feel happens.
You're like crying. You're also laughing. You're feeling love. You're crying.
You're anxious.
So anxious all the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a 3 goblet rating for me until the trials. I was like, this is kind of slow.
I was just pushing through because everybody said it was so good. I was like,
yeah.
Is it where? Oh, there it is.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Tina, what about you? You think the same?
I did. I didn't think it was super slow. I actually was really intrigued, and I kind of know, I guess because I had read like the Throne of Glass stuff, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, it's gonna, and that's kind of how it is. I think for like starting any fantasy book, it starts off slow because they're trying to introduce you to all these characters and this whole new world and like what's going on and how this and in the back and the history, right? So you have to really get into that. So I think any beginner fantasy book is going to be kind of slow,
right?
But I agree. I think overall, it was 4 stars, and those last 100 pages. I mean, yeah,
shoot,
they did it. They made me want to continue on.
Yeah, absolutely. It made me pick the next book right up.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, a lot of world building, but you have, like you said, you have to do the world building.
You need the backstory.
Yep, very true. Very true.
All right.
So our next episode will be book 2, which is my personal favorite.
No, my personal favorite.
No, mine. Like one of my I would say like one of my top 5 favorite books of all time is A Court of Mist and Fury. So good. So good.
Graphic audio necessary.
Very.
So necessary.
You can skip graphic audio for book 1, but go if you haven't done it yet, people out there.
Rhysand's voice is fire.
Do yourself a favor if you love yourself, go listen to the love scenes and everything.
Right. To hear his words, they're just so beautiful.
Man. So that voice actor right now, I read the book Quicksilver, but then when I found out he was doing the audio narration for Quicksilver, I pre-ordered it on Audible, and I'm going on Audible so slowly through it because I'm savoring his voice and listening.
You're so nuts.
I am nuts. Listen, I can admit I have a big problem. Whatever we want to say.
It's okay.
I don't care.
We love you for it.
I don't care. I like my books.
All right.
That's pretty much it, guys.
Thanks for hanging with us. This was our first episode, and
yeah, hopefully it wasn't, it was smooth-ish.
Yeah, we weren't too tangent-y, but hopefully you liked us, and feel free to give us some constructive criticism if we rambled too much, we're open to hear it.
And
Yeah, like what do you want to hear more of? More theories, more, you know,
very true.
Mhm.
Very
what do you want to
true.
hear?
So I would just like to say, we will be doing fantasy books, but we are going to be doing regular books too, like
We have some Colleen Hoover books sprinkled in.
Thrillers, yeah.
Yeah.
thrillers. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But we do have to start with our beloved, beloved
Only so we can
Akatar.
talk about Resand.
I want to say our beloved Rasan,
Because
but
we really miss him.
I really just want him to be real. Could you imagine how many people would be fighting over him in real life if he was real? That guy would never get rest. All right, everybody, keep reading to whatever end, if you know what that's from.
Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
Bye.
Bye.